Alrighty, traders. So let's actually have an update around the markets today, just so we can have a look around what's potentially going to come moving forward this week. Some key areas that I'm focusing on myself, and also I'm probably going to wrap up this this market update for you today. And I'm going to share with you one powerful trading pattern that just when it forms. When this pattern forms, we have a very big probability of making a big move, and that's what we want, right? So I'm going to share that pattern with you. Whenever this pattern forms, there's no guarantees, and we do need to go through that process, right? But the whole thing about what I'm about to share with you today is just this one simple pattern. When you start to see it, we tend to have these really big trending movements. And anyway, I think you're going to absolutely just, actually, I know you're going to love that. So traders, don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in today's video. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't even listen to me. In fact, most of the stuff that I know, guys, this is just my thoughts and my opinions and what the market's telling me. And we could just go from there. So anyway, traders, make sure you have access to that free trading course as well too on the screen. Now, let's actually go to the Dow Jones here. One of the big things I really am sort of focusing on myself when it comes to the Dow Jones, all right? And any market out there, is I always like to see the forest from the trees perspective. The forest from the trees perspective. Too many people get so tied up to the short term. What's happening on the daily charts in particular, and especially going to the lower time frames, like going all the way down to the lower time frames. So the lower time frames all through here, we see this through here. And a lot of the times, whenever we get stuck into that, we're not seeing the forest from the trees. And what does that simply mean? I'll share something with you. One of the biggest things that really turned me around, and I'll bring this up to here. Actually, I'll bring this screenshot up to here. And let me change this over to this here. I want to share this with you here. I want to share an example of what I mean here, okay? So one of the biggest things that really sort of started really giving me a good understanding of these markets and looking at the markets was, what's really going on here, right? Because a lot of people, when they're trading, say, for example, Bitcoin, right? And they see Bitcoin doing this and it's going down, 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 down. Oh my goodness, it's going down, it's going down. You see what I'm saying there? Oh my goodness, it's going down. Now, went down here. Now, right now, all you can see is what? Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months out of this. And all you're seeing is this downward phase here. Make sense? So we're seeing this downward phase all through here, as you can tell. Right, so you can see all that big downward phase. And one thing that I've noticed here is this. I'm just like, okay, this is a big downward phase, but I've noticed that whenever I'm looking at the weekly chart, this big downward phase here, if we have a very big weekly chart, if the weekly chart trend is very strong, because that's the big market, right? That's the big trend. One thing I've noticed is that we get these movements and then suddenly, why did this slowly go down through here? And then suddenly out of nowhere, we had just an explosion of just a very big move. Why is that? And I'll share with the reasons why. And this is where you can get really sort of, one, you can look for maybe a turning point to jump in on that next move up. But also, maybe it's also a bit of a warning sign to, as this market's going down through here, yes, we're going down for many months, okay? We're going down for 1, 2, potentially even 3 months at a time. But in the big picture things, all this is just an overall big pullback before we continue to see another move to the upside. Now, let me explain what I mean here for him. So if I bring up my weekly charts here, this is the weekly chart to the left, and we've got the daily chart to the right. Let me just open this up here for you. So as you can see, if I bring this to the upside, and if I just, you've got my trend lines here and so on and so forth, they don't really mean much to me. In fact, let me just remove the drawings from here. See, with the trend analysis, and let's actually do simple trend analysis. So what is it? Right now you can see Bitcoin's going up, okay? So with trend analysis, what is that? The market goes up and then we have a drop, right? We have a drop through here. And is this a bear market? No, right? What is this? So far, if this is the last low through here, as long as this low here stays above this low, then we're still potentially in a very big bull market, right? This could then form into a higher low and then away we go again, right? And then away we go up and then we come back down and we do this here, right? Is this a bear market right now? Again, this could, just say this is a weekly chart and say this here is 2 to 3 months of a drop here on the weekly chart. What's the overall big trend still though? The big trend is what? Still up, right? Why? Even though we had a drop through here, this last significant low is still lower than this low here. And right now, this point right here, as we speak, is still higher than this low here. And so therefore, this is likely to be just a bit of what's called a trend continuation move. So therefore, we have another higher low here. So we have this big move up and big move down. And one of the really big things that really helped me with my trading, and does help with my trading, is seeing what's happening here. Because a lot of traders can get fooled by seeing maybe one or two of a downward movement on the daily charts, but they don't realize that all this is just a move up and a move down, and all it is just a big pullback, just a reset before we get going again, and then we get going through here. And so you always want to be careful that one, you don't want to get sort of tied into maybe shorting through here, but what you want to do is say, okay, this is a very big upward trending through here. There's actually a real high probability that when this market starts to kick back in, we're probably going to go for another move to the upside, because the weekly trend is up. And this is where combining two time frames, no matter what market or chart or time you are looking at, combining two time frames is the best thing to do, right? So we can see here that if I just show you this here now, look at this. So as you can see, if I bring up my charts and I show you this here, so let's do this here. So I'm gonna do two different trend lines here, right? So I'm gonna do this one here, as you can see. So that we're gonna make you thick. So this is the weekly chart here, and so it's always, what's the forest from the trees? Basically, what is the big trend? What's the big trend still on that weekly chart? Because once you know that, one, you can see the picture, you can see the forest, you can see what's happening, and also more important, what could be coming up real soon, so you can get ready for it to jump on that next big move, right? That really next big move. And so as you can see, let me actually then sync you on layout and sync you, all right? So what do we have over here on the daily charts? This is the daily chart here, right? What do we have here? Look at this here. This was what? So much of a sideways move, right? But hang on a minute. What is the overall trend still on this weekly chart? It's still pretty up, right? Low, higher low, came up, and then we just started gyrating through here. And then we picked back up again. And then look what happened. We did it again, right? We had this drop through here. And so therefore we can do like another little, right? Another little one of these. Right. Right. And then we actually had what? And then we had the drop through here, didn't we? Then that was the drop more like that, right? See that through there? It's more like that through there, isn't it? But it's still different pullbacks, right? Different pullbacks. But what is the trend? Remember I said before about lows and highs. So if I'm looking at this level from here, and this is where it gets so cool, what I'm doing here is this, right? Remember, the market goes through different phases. We go through the energy using phase, which is through here, energy using, where the market's buying it up, and after a while, we run out of energy. So we need to cool down, and then we tend to get this sort of action. Volatile, not really going down a lot, but just sideways. We're doing this volatile. This here, this what's called energy building phase, where the market's building, energy using phase, where they're using energy, right? They're buying it. And then here, they're like, oh, they pull back and they rest and so on and so forth. And the energy what? And the energy building phase, okay? Energy using, right? And then now the energy building phase. And so through here, even though this was quite long through here, and it was doing this for so long, actually, this was actually very big sort of here. You'd be saying, hang on a minute, we're going here, but we're not really dropping hard. If we started to drop really hard, then you'd be like, hang on a minute, the sellers are very strong here. But due to the fact we didn't, and then when we started the breakout, then we had a very big move. And then guess what? Net energy building phase. Then we went into the energy using phase and had a very big move up. And then now we're going through what? Now we went through what? Another energy building phase, but it was just a different sort of level through there, as you can see, right? Which is this point through here, right? And this whole level through here, which is gyrations and volatile, you'll be saying, hang on a minute, that was a low. This here was the last significant higher low. It ran up, it came down, and all it was doing was putting in a significant higher low. So as you can see here, if you look at this overall here, it was up, down, up, down, up, and then down, right? You see the major swings from here? So when this major swings, when this was actually happening on the good old Bitcoin, okay, the good old Bitcoin through here. Now, again, this is not Bitcoin analysis, okay? Well, I'm looking at Bitcoin now, but I'm utilizing this because this is one of the greatest, this is a really good example for me to teach you this. And the reason I'm saying this here is that as this market's coming down, people get fooled by this. One, when you start to trade these what's called energy building phases, you get chewed up big time. If you look at this daily chart, where have been the best times to trade? There, and even here, right? Where's the worst time to trade? As you can see, all through here and all through here. Why? Because it's volatile, it's choppy, it's not going up, it's not going down, very volatile. So that's why it's important to understand what type of phase are we in. And how we understand that is this. The best trades for me are once we start to finish this type of trading pattern through here. Once we start to finish this level through here, I've got a fetish with pink, don't I? What the hell is that? Let's go red. All right, this level through here. Once we finish this level through here and we've done this and then we start to break out of this phase, then I know we're now likely to start the next phase. And this is where you generally, people get here, they have to be really patient. Here, you jump on some really nice moves to the upside and so on and so forth. So the purpose of me bringing this up to you is that I'm always watching the big weekly charts with nothing on the screen to say, what is going on here? What is going on here? Have we changed trend really? Right? We can look at the small ones, right? And so if you look at the daily charts, but then if you look at the weekly charts, you can look at the small little ones, but I like to look at the market like a big wave. Okay? So this is it here. Wave down, wave up, wave down, wave up, wave down, wave up, wave down. Maybe a little one through there. Big one up, big one down. You see what I'm saying here, right? And all this was just a drop, and then now we're continuing the trend. You see that through there? So it's very easy. But what a lot of traders do is they get so sucked into this level here. The reasons why is because what they're looking at is this. They're probably looking at this here, and they're like, oh, right? They're probably looking at that. Oh, look at the big downward trend. It's going to go down, and big channel on the downside. And then it breaks to the upside and then takes off to the upside. Why was this here so much more violent compared to... See what I mean here? This here was quite volatile, but now here, as soon as we broke out, bam! It's because, guess what? This here is now going with that weekly chart. The big trend. The purpose of me bringing this up to you now is, now I'm going to go back to what the market here is. I'm always looking at what the market is doing from here. So if I bring this chart up to here, and I go to this chart here, I'm always looking at what the big weekly trend is doing. And so for me, I can see now on this big weekly trend on this Dow Jones chart, one thing I'm looking for now is, again, I'm watching for the waves, right? So we had a wave up, and then we had a wave down, wave up, wave down, wave up, wave down. We had this big wave up through here, didn't we? Now we're coming back down, and now we're coming through here. So that's what I'm looking at through there. So far, as I'm seeing it, is that we're still in a very big, strong, big bull market. Now we have these small little ones. These small little ones are okay, I guess, but it's the big ones here that I like to, okay? Remember guys, this is the way that I like to trade. And this is the way that I like to see things. And it's interesting, like I have some people, it's like, John, you did it wrong. It's like, guys, this is the way that I do things, right? It's like, by the way, I'm happy with my trading results. So the way that I do things seems to be doing okay. Just a little bit, I guess, right? Try to stay humble there, right? So we have low there, and now we have another higher low. So unless we really do break up and then we start to really break down from here and we create a significant lower high, the bull market's still in place. There's a very big bull market still in place. There's no topping pattern here whatsoever. And because what a bear market is, what? A bear market or a downward trend, which is just a bear market, is lower highs, isn't it? Lower highs, lower highs. We are still making higher lows through here. So until we get something like this here, game on with the bulls. Game on with the bulls. So when I'm looking at something like that, then I go back to my daily charts. Now I'm trying to see what's going on here right now. Right, what is actually happening here? And now I can see from this shorter term charts over here, this is now the daily chart. Now I want to see what actually happens, because if we do something like that and we start to break up through here, then the Dow could be now on its way to $60,000. Or 60,000, not 60,000. All right, could be on its way to 60,000. And that's where now on its way, which means that could take 6 months, could be whatever, right? From that through that levels from there. So that's what I'm seeing from there. The same analysis applies across all the indices, and the same for even the Nasdaq, right? Look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's just here. What I'm looking for with the Nasdaq is this. Now the Nasdaq's really turned around. All right, really turned around, and now we're just holding through here. If we continue to hold through here for a bit, get the moving up, and then we start to break up through there. Whew. Okay, so the next target for me, if that happens, if we break above 22,000, right, then we go to here. We're probably going to be on our way up to around the 28,000, maybe even 30,000 on the Nasdaq 100 if we do break above 22,000. Same for the S&P 500, the same type of analysis through here, right? If we break above 6,000, I actually have a 7,500 target by the end of the year this year. We'll see whether that turns out or not. But if we break 6,000, guess where we're going? To the 7,500 target. So that's what I'm seeing through there, guys, when it comes down to like all these markets and stuff like that. Also, let's check out the good old silver's just up. Yeah, forget silver, right? Actually, no. I'll take that back. Don't forget silver. One thing I am noticing with silver is just the patterns that it's making overall. And when I say that, let me just bring this up through to here. Yeah, it's much more easy to see on this screen here. So one thing I'm seeing here is this. If I bring up this trend line from here to here, right? And then as you can see, what's happening right now on silver on this this is the weekly chart here. Let me see if I can go back to this chart here for a minute. Right, that from there to there. Okay, there. Yeah, it's not the same, is it? No, it doesn't look the same compared to what I'm seeing right now. Here. So what I'm seeing right now is this. I'm seeing this all through here. If for some reason silver does hold through here and we don't break down, but we start to get a nice breaking up above this level from here to here. If we start to get a real nice strong back above that level through there, then we could start to make a move back up to all-time new highs. If I bring up let's bring on the SLV here, because I think the SLV can give me a bit more data. Yeah, it can. Okay, cool. Now that makes sense. That makes sense now. Okay, cool. So now what I'm looking at here is I'm focusing on this really big long-term chart here. Okay, I know the bars are really small, guys. I didn't care about the bars, right? What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to see the patterns. Are we going sideways through here? Yes. Do we have a significant level of support going back through here? Yes, right? If you want to see the bars, here's the daily charts here for the last 6 months on the daily, right? Here, remember I said before, keep the big forest from the trees. Because if silver's about to make a big move, you want to get ready for it, right? You want to be able, it's breaking, let's go, right? That's the time. Anyway, so that's what I'm seeing through that. And the purpose of me saying that through there is we can see what's happening through here. We can see that this major level up through here, which was the resistance all through here, is now becoming support. What does that mean? Well, that simply means that by looking at this here and bringing this up to this level through here, this is the real big picture here. If we do break this, then we could start to see a possible move now up to around possibly 40, 45, right? Through there. And if that means that, then if I bring on, this is my daily chart here. If that starts to happen, then this thing could be getting ready for a really big move to come. See what I'm saying through here? So see what I did through there? Now I've got a much more better understanding about how to read these markets from here. I started with the big weekly charts. And plus also, I've seen these patterns so many times, guys, that it just works really well, a lot of the time. And now we're seeing this weekly chart over here. That looks really nice, actually. Just looking at this now. That looks really, really, really nice. Yeah. So silver could be getting ready for a breakout, guys. Is silver going to start to play catch up? Because again, if just now looking at this level from here, once again, you can see here, this level up here, which is this level through here, that's that chart there on the weekly chart, right? If we break that, then it's pretty much free and clear through here until this level through here, 45. So interesting. And we're starting to get this very big sideways movement, which, by the way, when I mentioned at the start of the video, this is the number one pattern I like to look for, right? Whenever we do get that very long extended period of sideways movement, when we do break out and start the trend, it tends to trend really, really, really well, right? So let me show you an example from here. If I go to gold. So gold had a very big move here. What was the precursor, right? Because we want to say, okay, what was the thing on the chart that said, okay, when this thing starts to break out, this thing could be starting a very nice move. Because that's what I'm looking for, right? I'm like, what are the patterns that when they form, they have a good probability of making a big move? Therefore, I can make 2, 3, 4, 500% return on my options, potentially, and have a small risk. And what is that? The number one thing is what? Whenever we do this here, whenever we have this now this is a weekly chart, right? Whenever we have this very long extended period of sideways movement here, whenever we do start to break out, we're probably going to go for a really nice big bull move to come, right? A trade that I did at the start of the year, RBLX, is another one. Look at that beautiful move. Anyway, so I traded RBLX from here, and I'll show you on this chart here. Right, so I traded RBLX, and I rode this up just before the earnings, and the earnings came out. Right, but look at this here. Had a very big. This one here was that was the channel, and it had this very big move to the upside. And now I was talking to my private clients about this. Now it looks like the weekly chart is very, very, very. Remember I said before about the weekly chart. Why? Again, example. Look at this here. This is so cool, guys, isn't it? Right. Remember I said before about the weekly chart and the trend analysis. Look at this here. So forget that move from there. Just look at this here. Even you could even have that maybe down through there somewhere. Anyway, so why did roadblocks all through here? It went down, but why was it short-lived? And why are we now getting a much stronger violent move to the upside compared to the down move? Because if you look at the weekly chart, low, up, higher low, up, higher low, up, down, higher low, and now we just see how we're now continuing the trend, right? It's just making the trend. And all this here, this drop through here was just what? The pullback, because in an upward trend, what do we have? We have up, and then we have to drop to create the pullback. Up, drop to create the pullback, and so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying through there? So this is what actually happens when it comes down to, the markets from here. And so you can see that through there. So that's the number one sort of pattern you see through there. And it even happens on shorter time frame traders. And so let me show you what I mean from here. So I'll show you, there was a few trades. There was actually one trade off that one thing I'm telling you right now. Remember I said before, long extended period of sideways movement, we tend to get big breaks. There's a Bitcoin trade that I did just not long ago on the 4-hour chart. Why did I take it? Really simple, right? Very, 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 very simple. This was the Bitcoin chart back here. Remember I said before? See this here. That's a 4-hour chart. And then we got the breakout trade. And then look at the move ever since. Started the move. In fact, it's actually done the same thing a few times, hasn't it? Look at this here. Up, beautiful sideways movement. As soon as we got the breakout, we had a move. And then we had a move, and then we actually went back to a sideways movement, and then we broke out, had a move. Side of a movement, broke out, had a move. You see how amazing that is? So for me, my number one type of trading pattern I'm looking for is, are we going sideways? And especially for a long extended period of time. And especially if I can get that sideways, like I'm in one trade right now. I can't share it with you because I'm not going to show you the trade that I'm in right now. Because some of you guys may take it. And it's just for my inner circle members. Anyway, but the one trade I'm in right now, that was going sideways for many, many, many years. I think 2 or 3 years in that. And now I'm in it. And the reason I'm saying that is if something goes sideways for the weekly chart on 2 or 3 years, I'm in a trade right now. And I know this trade has the potential of having a really big move over the next 2, 3 months, possibly even 6 months. And if I can capitalize on a very big move over 6 months, that's when you can start to say, okay, I did a $20,000 trade and it could do 400 or 500% return, maybe even more. And that's where you could potentially say, okay, I did a $20,000 trade, and then 2, 3 months later, I made over $100,000 profit. And that they're possible, right? Especially when you use, that's one of the reasons why I like trading options. And trading options, and then given the trade time, I'd rather take 4 or 5 of those trades per year, right? Doing that type of trade, make all this money, and not really trade a lot. That again, when it comes to my coaching program, guys, and the way that I do things, that's the way I do things, right? Are we going sideways? Are we going sideways? And one of my actual coaching clients, he actually said that he actually traded. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum was beautiful, right? Whenever we get this experience, look at this here. Why did Ethereum have such a big move here? What was the precursor? Oh, look at that sideways. See how it just went flat sideways? And this was actually a long time. This is a 4-hour chart, right? This is a 4-hour chart. How many days was that? Let me see here. Let's see, how many days did that go sideways? 14 days that was. 14 days of just purely what? Flat, sideways, nothing. And then guess what? I'm telling you right now, traders, this is my number one trading pattern I look for out of anything out there. The number one thing. Why? Because when you do get this, and it's quite long, and you do get a breakout, you tend to have a very nice big move. Now, it's not always like that, right? Sometimes you might get a breakout and it pauses for a bit, and then you get a breakout and does something like that. Like, that's what I mean. Like, even that's making a big move, right? And sometimes, just like one of my coaching clients, he actually took this. Now, why did he take this? Look at this here. Very simple, isn't it? Very, 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 very simple. What is this? It's what? Sideways, right? It's sideways, sideways. And then we have what? Then we have another sideways. See the sideways patterns through there? So what? So when we then start to break out from there, we've been going sideways for all this time, which is known as what? If you go back to what I said before, there's two different phases. There's the energy using phase. Oh, here we go. The energy using phase. And then the energy building phase. And after the energy building phase, especially if it's sideways like this, and then you get a breakout like that, energy using, energy building, oh, we're getting a breakout. We're probably going to start to make another move here. And this is where, again, I have rules around this, but I'm trying to show you this one simple pattern here. I'm trying to show you example after example after example after example. And then, guess what? Guess what, guys? Market took off like a rocket, right? Took off like a rocket. Now, what you do is when trading this, one, I have my trading set up, but I also have a checklist. Secondly, I have the exact candle I'm looking for. I don't just trade every single sideways movement, but I'm trying to share with you that whenever we do get these sideways type of phases in the markets, we tend to get big moves after them. And it's just so amazing. Like, look at this back here. All right. What is this back here? See all that sideways movement? Look at this here. Lots of sideways movement, right? Do it again. Look at this here. Sideways, and then we broke. We had all this nice move down. Then we had another one, but it was more like a bit of a, just not the exact sideways, but look at this here. I'm telling you right now, traders, that this is the stuff we should be focusing on, right? And I have nothing on the screen here. One simple trading pattern. Oh, cancel. Right? And then we can go from there. Why did this have such a big breakup from here? Look at this big move here. What happened? Let's go check it. You guys see what I'm saying here? So Ethereum did what? Look at Ethereum did all through here, didn't it? Just nothing. Absolutely nothing. Complete and utter just sideways. Right? Overall through there. Really just sideways, right? Nothing going on. And then we broke, and then we had this very nice big trending move. Had a big breakout, had a bit of pullback, and then it continued back up. Why? You see the pattern there, right? It happens time and time and time and time again, guys. Time and time and time and time and time and time again. And same with the Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin did the exact same thing, and it just works so well in the markets from here. What is this one here? Well, the 4-hour chart, yeah. Right? It's sideways, sideways, sideways. So the purpose of me showing you this here, guys, is one of the big things to my success in trading is not that I make money every trade. No, I have losing trades. And that's why I always say with the disclaimer, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't need to know what's going to happen. People trying to be smart. Oh, I'm going to calculate this. Shut up. Me. Okay. If I'm 50-50 right on a trade like this, and the trade, and this is the way that I like to think about my trading, right? Now, again, I have proper rules around this level here, guys. Traders, if you'd like to learn more about this sort of stuff and you'd like to get more help around this sort of stuff, apply for my coaching program, guys. I will help you out. Well, I'm with you every single week. Otherwise, you guys are missing out on so much. Like right now, I'm in 3 trades right now. Two are in really nice profit. One's at break even, but they all have the potential, right? They all have the potential of doing exactly this here because they're basically the exact same thing that I'm in right now, right? So I'll give you an example here. Right? Let's just say, for example, and then like we're talking about risk management here, the way that I like to trade is this, right? Or I'll use a bit more of a smaller position here, but let's just say, for example, you were okay doing a $10,000 trade here, right? Now, this is obviously with good risk management and so on and so forth. Through that there, a big loss for me would be 5,000. An average loss would be, let's just say you had a $100,000 trading account, okay, as an example. An average loss for me would be 2,000 to 3,000. So I'm losing on average 3,000. right? That's 33. So I'm losing about 3%. But some of these big trades, they can go on for what? They can go on for 200%, 300%, 400%, 500%. What if the thing took off and there's been many trades, so what if you made 300% return on the trade? Right? Let's actually do that number here, right? Let's just say I'm in 3 trades right now that all have this setup. Let's just say I completely shot myself in the foot and 2 of them did this. So I lost what? $6,000 on 2 trades, which is probably not going to happen because I got a really, really good win-loss ratio. But then the 3rd trade here made me $30,000. Now, again, I'm not saying, I'm looking at the absolute worst case scenario that I know that I'm going to continue making money, right? So when you see this here, I'm still up what? $24,000. See what I'm saying here? Now, this thing here, once I said before, the trades that I'm in right now, again, exact same thing here. They all have the potential of making a really big move. Now, again, I'm probably going to make money out of 2 of these. Maybe one of them's going to have a loss. Maybe they're all going to turn into a really nice profit. I don't really care. But if I can get something like this going on, now I trade a lot more than that. I trade a lot more than this. I trade a lot more than $10,000 per trade, but I'm trying to show you the way that I'm thinking about my trading, right? This is option here. And again, give it plenty of time. And what I'm saying by that 300% return, if one trade was a 20% loss, a 30% loss, a 30% loss, the second trade was a 30% loss, you get what I'm trying to say here, right? And the 3rd trade was the 300% profit, as an example. The 300% profit, that's where the $30,000 comes in, right? I'm trying to give you the foundation of how you can do really well out of trading. But do you see what I'm saying here? Like, I don't have anything on the charts here. There's nothing on the charts. There's not even a moving average. There's not an indicator. There's not inflation. It's just sideways breakout. Oh, right? So the reason why traders are doing, the hard thing about trade is you're trying to be so smart. I'm just like, here's a pattern. I've made money off this pattern, out of Bitcoin and so on and so forth. And Ethereum just happened just recently, so on and so forth. But why I'm saying this here is just say this is over a period of, say, call it 3 months, right? A 3-month period, and this is what happened, right? Or actually, it's probably not going to be that. It's probably going to be 2 months, right? So on average of so I'm in the trades right now, and just say over the next 2 months, right? I get this result here, and I got roughly these numbers here. Do you know my account went up by 24% here? I'm net positive 24,000 over a 2-month period. Again, mine's a lot more than that, right? And if you do things like when I like to start to increasing, if you started to do, say, a $20,000 position, again, being okay, I mean, the $20,000 position here, but being okay with the numbers and so on and so forth, but being really good. I'm trying to show you that $20,000 could now potentially turn into a $50,000 trade, $50,000 profit for me. Over the course of 2 months, I'm now looking at on average around $25,000 a month there. Do you see what I'm saying here, right? Now, again, I'm talking about much lower. I'm talking about numbers here that, again, like the whole purpose of me saying this here is I'm trying to show you what's possible in the markets. And I'm trying to show you, one, the foundations and the framework, the pattern that's actually likely to make a big move in the first place. And secondly, I'm setting myself up for success because I know right now I'm in 3 trades. If 2 of them give me big X and 1 gives me that really nice big profit, guess what? I'm going to make money. And I keep repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And then some years I make a lot of money, right? So there was 1 year there. Anyway, and then multiple 6 figures, and you could potentially get, like, a few years back I did well over 7 figures in 1 year. And anyway, so the whole purpose of me saying all this here is not to, like, look at me, right? Who gives a shit about me, right? I've been trading for a long time right now, and I'm used to it. I get this here. I understand this. But what I'm trying to show you a few things. Firstly, it's not that complicated as much as you think it is, right? We don't need the MACD or the stochastics or the RSIs or the Elliott waves or the Fibonacci extensions, and we don't need any of that. I'm showing you a simple pattern just in the last couple of weeks. Sideways, breakout, nice move. Sideways, breakout, nice move. Sideways, breakout, nice move. There's been 3 nice trades here. And again, through here, there'll be a nice trade through here, here, and here. Ethereum. You get the point, right? Sideways, big move. Now, again, when I get the big move, I like to use things like a 9 moving average for exit. So what I mean by that is this. I like to get in and see my 9 moving average, and I like to stay in. And when we start to get below the 9 moving average, that's when I like to get out. Very, very, very simple. Look at that move from there. right? And it's just, so I hope you can see here that the reason why my second half of my trading career has been so good. My first 10 years was okay, I guess. Was because I always thought I had to be smart, but I don't. Like I'm showing you, like I just look for one simple trading pattern. I'm telling you right now, like, do you actually want to make money or do you want to be smart? Or you want to try to be right? Like I just take it. I just take the trade, and I know I'm going to have losses. I don't know which one's going to lose, but I don't really care. I just know if I keep taking these trades, I'm going to make a lot of money. Right, so one, I'm giving you the foundation. One, I'm just showing the pattern that it actually doesn't have to be that complicated. But secondly, I'm trying to share with you how you should be thinking about your trade if you want long-lasting success. And this is where, if you're doing things like spread strategies and selling options, you're capping your profit. Do not ever do that. If you want a long-term success in the markets, you want to have a situation where if you do horrible, one trade you have a loss, two trades you have a loss, three trades you have a loss. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do this, but let's just say you went through here. You want to be in a situation, your fourth trade was a loss as well too, but your fifth trade was a profit. I'm not saying you're going to do this. And by the way, if you did do this, you're probably a bad trader. But you want to be in this situation here. If you had, say, what, a $2,000 loss here, a $3,000 loss here, as an example. This one here was another $2,000 loss, and we had another $2,000 loss. What's that? 246, 8, 9. That's a $9,000 loss, right? As an example here, if you're utilizing this here. But what if this profit here screamed to a 500% return over the course of 2-3 months? So now you just made $50,000 on this one trade. You had these 4 losses and you still netted almost $40,000 there. Now again, I'm not, but see what I'm saying here? I'm trying to give you the foundations to set you up for success, long term, not being lucky. And what is this? All comes back down to, I'm looking for the trade that's likely to make a big move. Because if I can do that and only be 50-50 right, or I can be horrible and only be right, what's that? 20% right. Which again, you're probably not going to do that. But I'm trying to show you the worst case scenario of how successful traders make money in their markets from here. It's not about being lucky or smart or any of this sort of stuff. No, you don't need that. What you say, I'm telling you right now, traders, you do not need that. And I get so enthusiastic about this over here because when you study the forest from the trees, the matrix, right? It's like, oh my goodness, this is how it's done? Really? Like, I've been complicated. And as you can see, tell me where I'm going wrong here, right? It does work. Now, again, you never know how big this big move from here. See this big move from here? See that there? You never know how big that's going to be, right? Is it going to be that big? Or is it only going to end there? Like, you just never know, right? You never know. But again, I want to get into patterns that when we do get into the trade, it's likely to make a big move. Because if I can do that and I can start to increase my position size with my confidence, I've been doing the same thing over and 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 over again, right? That's my number one trading pattern. My number one type of trading pattern is that there, right? And I'll leave you with this here. And I know this is going to blow you away. Remember I said before, sideways movement? Remember I said before also that when we get our weekly charts, when we have this is our weekly chart to the top up here, right? And let me just remove, do you remember when Trump was elected the very first time? This is going to blow you away. Remember I said before also, so you remember when Trump was elected, okay? Let's go to the Dow Jones. And if you remember when Trump was elected, remember I said before, when the market goes sideways, sometimes, especially for a few years or more, when we break out, we're likely to go for a really big move. Same type of pattern, right? It's the same. Now, check this out. This is where it's going to blow you away. Remember Trump? Like, look at this here, right? Look at this. This is when Trump became elected in June 2026, and then the stock market took off. And he was talking about, we got Trump. Anyway. Let me show you what I mean here. Actually, no, I'll just do this here for you guys. All right, let me just show you this here. Now, let me show you. Now, look at this here. This is where it goes. I'm telling you right now. It's the number one. It's so simple, guys. Think about it. We have a 50-50 chance of making money without doing anything. And then we can start to apply some foundations of these patterns and why they work. I hope you can see what I mean here. Right through there, up through there. So I'd have to say that's to there. Now, what is this? or basically the start of 2014, 2015, 2016. So basically almost 3 years of doing nothing. You see that? Look at here, nothing. Well, John, market's going to crash because Trump's becoming elected. Oh, market went up because of Trump. Come on now. Like you see what I'm saying here, right? Like this massive move to the upside. Massive move. Why did this thing have an incredible move? Now, we didn't know how much it was going to move. This went on for 12 months. But why did it have such a big move? Because we just spent 3 years going sideways. Right? The market does this so much. It's the same thing. Same. And I'm using nothing but one chart pattern. Are we going sideways? Everything else, shut up. Gold. Why has gold made a big move over the last year and a half? Oh, wait. Say it with me. Can you say it with me? I'm telling you right now, guys. Like this is where, guys, you can really crush it with trading. If you just understand that there is no guarantees of making a profit on there, but you don't need to know. If you do know if you had good risk management, but you know over 10 trades. Anyway, why did it go down? Because it went sideways for 2 or 3, or actually this was close to 4 years. And then we had do you see what I'm saying here? Sideways, nothing going on. And then we broke out. And then for a year and a half, we've had a big move. I've shown you examples on gold. I've shown you examples on all these markets. And now you understand why when I was looking at silver just recently, and let me squeeze my with silver up here. Now you understand what I mean here when it comes to the silver market. Now I'm not saying this is going to happen, right? But one thing I'm looking for is what? Now I'm looking for, if I draw this here, this support line all through here, I now can see that what? Now we're starting to potentially do this level through here. See that through there? We're starting to potentially then start to generate this sideways pattern here. All of 2024, it's getting like a bit of a sideways pattern through here now. See what I mean through there? So, and again, doesn't mean we're definitely going to break up, guys, right? But the purpose of me saying this here is I'm trying to show you. I've shown you examples when Trump was elected back in 2016. I've shown you examples on Ethereum, right? I've shown you examples on Bitcoin here. I've shown you examples on all these different markets to show you that if you can just hone down to one thing, I'm looking for these markets that's going sideways, right? I'm just looking for these markets that are going sideways. Because if it does go sideways, this was a trade that I did. If we do go sideways for a long period of time, look at this here. Roblox. Why did I get into Roblox here? I got into Roblox here on the breakout. And why are we now still making a very big move, right? Nice big trend. Here we go. Higher low, big move, right? Why has this been in a very big bull move? Because we've just done nothing for all this time. What does that mean? And this is why it's so powerful. One thing I've learned here, guys, is the market, really good companies don't just go sideways for a long time. In fact, you want it to go sideways for a long time. Why? Because when the market goes sideways for a long time, there's no trend. It's not going to sideways forever. And what tends to happen is after this here, when we start to break out, we start to go in that direction. We have no trend for a while and call this 2 years, or this one here was 1, 2, 3 years, right? So call it 3 years. And the reason the psychology around this here, the reason why the psychology of this pattern works so well, this works so well, it kicks butt on anything other thing. The reason why the thing about the psychology, big markets don't just go sideways for a very long time, right? They will go sideways for sometimes a couple of years, but eventually what's going to happen, right? We're going to break out, we're going to start the trend, don't we? We're going to try the trend up or trend down. And then when we trend up, we come back there, and then we start the trend through here. It's like, oh my goodness, look at this big move to the upside. And this is over 12 months through here. Why did this, what was the precursor? Well, we just did nothing for all this time. We just did no trend. And then suddenly what happens is, as I said before, especially really good companies, right? When the market does this here, especially on the weekly chart, it does nothing for 2 or 3 years of doing no trend for a while. Eventually what's going to happen most of the time is that when we break out, it's giving us a direction that we're actually now starting a new trend. We're actually starting a new trend. Right here is the start of a new trend. After doing no trend for all this time, right, now we're breaking out and the market's telling you we're about to go into a really nice trending phase. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, so on and so forth. Like gold did. Remember I said before with gold? Why did I trade gold? Right down here, I was entering gold. All through here and all through here, I was hammering gold. Now I'm going to be warning because it's been going up a lot. But You know, why was I was entering gold down the bottom here, right? And I was getting ready for it. Why? Why has gold made such a big move? Because, once I said before, is that especially big markets, when big markets do this here, there's done no trend for all this time. It's been not trending, it's just going sideways. But when it breaks out, the market, the big boys, whoever's pushing this around, the big boys are telling us that whenever we do start to break, it's telling us now that we're getting ready to start a new trend. And when we do break out, it's likely to be the start of the new trend. Therefore, we're likely to go up, higher, low, and away we go. Hence the reason why we had such a big move at a gold, because we did nothing for all this time. And then when it breaks out, we're starting a brand new trend. When we do that, especially on a weekly chart, we tend to get that, 6 months, 12 months, so like gold. Now, we never know exactly how much that's going to be, but if we're looking to get in at the start of new bull moves, now you know what to look for.